Straight Outta Combat Radio, presented by Green Zone Hero and hosted by the Heroes Media Group. Just want to say this guest, Ryan Weaver, is one of those guys that really sets the stage and quite literally sets the rock and roll country stage, but he also sets the stage to how to, meet adversity head on and how to take what life deals you and how to play the hand. And I got to tell you, he let us use that song Burn from the very beginning, didn't hesitate, and just very honored and humbled to know this person and to have him on our show. Thank you for listening.
You're a steely-eyed killer shadow in the night. You were born to fight. You gotta light 'em up.
My name is John Krotek, and I want to welcome you to Straight Outta Combat Radio, audio medicine by Green Zone Hero. We're here to honor the wisdom of America's most valuable asset, her combat veterans. We're authentic, we're empowering, we're American.
Save us all before they burn it down.
Our guest on today's episode of Straight Outta Combat Radio is one hell of a busy guy. In fact, just to get him to sit down here for the next 45 minutes was Hercules took us to get him here. But if I wanted to read his bio, we would be here all day, and I'm going to be very quick. Our guest today is Ryan Weaver. Ryan Weaver is one of the most high-energied, all-American rock and country music artists that you will ever meet. He was also a combat Black Hawk Aviator, making it to the rank of Chief Warrant Officer 3 in the United States Army. And he has got one hell of a story to tell. He lost his brother, and we can get into that. Of course, the story is to remember his brother. And he also lost his brother-in-law. How often does that happen, and how often should that happen? We will never forget those warriors that sat in the cockpit of those helicopters in harm's way. But more recently, 2017, Ryan was announced as the patriotic voice of the professional bull riders for their Celebrate America campaign. And at the World Finals in Las Vegas, he was out there rocking his rear end off. He has got a litany of places where he has played across this country. He is a true blue American, combat veteran. I can't tell you how humbled I am to have him here on the show today. Hey, Ryan, how's it going, brother?
It's going great, man. It's been a rainy week up here in Nashville, but we're going to make it through. I've been building a boat and getting animals in pairs up here, but it's not like the folks had to deal with on the East Coast. But Nashville, seeing this much rain during the fall time is kind of weird. But it's supposed to be beautiful the next couple of days. I'll be heading up to Fort Campbell to the Air Assault School up there to do some touring and with their folks up there for an outreach program we might be getting involved with. So excited, man. Excited.
Awesome, man. I'm glad you mentioned those folks over in North Carolina, on the Outer Banks that just went through that horrific storm. And, we're thinking about them out there, and the weather is starting to turn and looking forward to a great fall. But, before we get to all the cool and exciting things that you're doing now, tell us a little bit about your background. How did you even get into the cockpit of a helicopter, and where did you grow up? Who were your mentors? Those kinds of things.
Well, it's a long story, but I'll try and make it brief. But I grew up in West Central Florida, Citrus County, about 50 miles west of Orlando. My family was a mixed family. I would say I had steps, halves. Aaron was my full blood sibling, but we had a cornucopia of kids in our house. We had 11 people in our house at one time. When Steve, my oldest brother, came back from the Ranger Regiment to go to college, I loved growing up with a big family. Obviously, it has its trials and tribulations. We had really humble beginnings. My dad was the sole income maker for our family, and we moved over from Rockledge, Florida, in fourth grade. Actually, I lived all over the state of Florida. I lived in Marianna, Florida, up to third grade, then moved over to Rockledge, Florida on the East Coast in fourth grade. Then fifth grade, we ended up moving over to Citrus County, and that's where I finished out to graduate in high school at Citrus High School. And then went in the Army straight out of high school and was a military intelligence analyst. There's a 96 Bravo, which is now the 35 Fox for everybody out there knows it, but the other services. But got up to E6 promotable, picked up my 7 at the board, but was already in candidate school and was excited about becoming a warrant officer. Aaron for the folks out there who don't know my background, he was in the Ranger Regiment and in Somalia for the ambush in Mogadishu for Black Hawk Down, and best Ranger buddy with Jeff Struker for 2 years in a row. I think they got fourth in the Ranger, or they did get fourth in the Best Ranger competition. He was an All-American superhero, but he was at flight school already. I went through Warrant Officer Candidate School, then flight school, and ended up, fortunately, because of his help and his assistance and guidance and advice, ended up graduating top of my class in flight school. And Aaron and Steve were both there. Steve was also, he came out of the Ranger Regiment and went to college, went back in as a warrant officer as well. Then when I graduated, we were the first three brothers to fly in the Army as warrant officers at the same time. And they were there to pin my wings on. Pretty incredible.
Where'd you guys, where was that? Was that McClellan, Fort McClellan?
Fort Rucker.
Fort Rucker, okay.
Fort Rucker. Yeah, Fort McClellan was old school, man. That's back when, that's back in the day.
Ancient history, man.
Yeah. But no, I mean, so I, graduated from Fort Rucker, flight school at Fort Rucker, and then went on to Germany. I was stationed at Fliegerhorst-Kaserne in Hanau, the 1st Armored Division, 2nd 501st Aviation, Black Hawk Aviator, and deployed to Iraq in 2003, replaced in 3rd Infantry Division at Baghdad International Airport, and flew for a short period of time there. And, the one thing that I always tell everybody from the beginning that I'm no hero, no superhero, no nothing. My brothers both were. They're both multiple deployment combat soldiers and badasses. And for me, as soon as Aaron died on January 8th in 2004, he was actually a cancer survivor, non-deployable, and got a waiver to be deployed to Iraq in 2003. And then on January 8th in 2004, while he was, that waiver said that he had to get bi-monthly blood screenings for the cancer. And he was traveling in the back of a medevac helicopter on the way to Baghdad Hospital, and it was shot down, and everybody was killed in action. And that was the end of my flying. I followed in Steve and Aaron's footsteps to fly, and it was I enjoyed flying, but it was their passion, and it took me probably 2 years to look at a Black Hawk. After that, it was everybody deals with loss in different ways, and I can't necessarily say that I've heard stories of siblings going straight back to combat and those kind of things, but when you're flying an aircraft and you're responsible for other people's lives in that aircraft, and it's tough to just look at it. For me, I felt that it was the right decision to make to get restationed where I wasn't going to be flying for a little bit, where I could recover from, to get through the loss and work my way back into it if possible. That was my decision, just because I didn't feel that I could put 100% into the flying aspect of it, and one mistake can make or break everybody in the aircraft, and that's the last thing that I wanted to have on my shoulder, or have on my mind. I wouldn't say on my shoulders. It really wasn't on my shoulders. But when when you see your family go through what we went through, you just don't want to risk putting anybody else through that. And I didn't at that point. And by the Sole Survivor Act at that point, although I had an older brother, he's my half brother by adoption. Aaron was my only full blood sibling, full blood brother. It made me a sole survivor. So I was not deployable at that point.
Well, I'm saying, it obviously hit you hard. And I got to say, it hits a lot of Americans hard as well. We're not directly connected to that soldier, that aviator, but anytime one of our heroes goes down in combat, it affects all of us. And, I think it's important, Ryan, to continue to tell the story because, we can never forget, like I said at the outset, anybody that we have lost in combat.
Right.
So when you got that, and did it make you question at all what you guys may have been fighting for when that happened? Did that ever arise?
I never. I got to be honest with you. Although the whole question about the weapons of mass destruction, all those kind of things, and whatever, and why we were there. No, I I did a paper on my master when I started my master's degree about the creation of ISIS and how and ISIL and all that, and how it came to be, and just did this massive research project on it. And the bottom line is, and Mattis said it, I believe he was speaking, and General Mattis said it, and that if we weren't taking it to them, they would be on our shores. They proved it. And sure, we have the smaller cells of things and whatnot, but it was escalating to a point to where they were emboldened enough to fly airplanes in buildings and those kind of things. So, and I know there are conspiracy theorists out there saying it was an inside job and whatnot, but whatever. I mean, we're taking the fight to them, and that's as a projection force. I think that we're extremely capable of putting our finger on somebody across the world anytime that we want to, and I think that's where the advantage is for us over a lot of other folks. And we live safely and freely in this great country of ours because of the sacrifices that are made overseas, and obviously the sacrifices that are made at home with the families. I never questioned it. That's one of the things that I think when you're going through grief, you always say why. And I mean, there have been times where I've wondered why, Aaron was picked over me. Cause I actually had flown over the spot or was going to fly over the spot that he was killed at. 2 days before that, when I went to Kimberly Hampton's female cavalry captain, she was killed in action on January 2nd. The same month, obviously, but I flew one of her friends out to her memorial service, and on January 4th, and my battalion commander, Jim Schroet, actually had me change my flight plan to go north of the city, north of Fallujah, as opposed to south of the city, because we had that Chinook that, I don't remember if you remember, but the National Guard Chinook that was shot down when all of those soldiers were going home on leave, and killed several of them. And then they had the Kiowa shot down with Kimberly Hampton, and then everybody. It was a pretty hot area just south because the air corridors were going through. I mean, everybody was traveling from Baghdad International Airport to TQ and that area to Al Taqaddum. And anyway, he had me change my flight plan. One of the turns in the flight plan would have taken me over that spot, and they said that guy had been sitting there for weeks. So it could have been me just the same, but I've questioned that, but I've never questioned the reason why we do what we do. I mean, we stand on the line in front of tyranny so that others don't have to. And, I firmly believe that Aaron, he was a warrior. I mean, he died I think he'd have preferred to be in the front flying, but
yeah,
just because of his mentality, but he died in combat, and he died doing what he do. There's no heroism, when it comes to death, but there is heroism in the intent and your desire to fight for what you believe in.
Sometimes it's so cliche.
No, I never question that.
Right. Well, that, it's so cliche sometimes, Call of Duty, and what does that mean? And
yep.
And I second what you say about you don't question it. It is a volunteer service, but it takes a rare human being. I'm firmly convinced of this, to raise their right arm and put their hand up and do that oath to defend the Constitution of the United States. Not a lot of people do that, and
yeah, absolutely,
it's something to remember and something we can't forget. Has your view of life, obviously it's probably changed, but how has it changed because of the loss of your brother and your brother-in-law?
Well, I mean, a lot of folks have been following me out there. I don't know, how many of your listeners even know who I am, but if they know who I am, they've been following me. I mean, I've been doing this country music thing since 2005. My first gig was at a bar with the Army band, a few non-commissioned officers that were playing in a rock band, all posted in Enterprise in the local area, Dothan, around Fort Rucker. I mean, that's when I first got started on this, and my goal was always to get to stadiums with people singing my songs, and it's what I wanted to do in honor of. I mean, I started this off just because I never found that I was great at anything. I was always a jack of all trades and a master of none. And, I hate to say that saying, but it was absolutely true. I was never great at anything. And I don't want to say that I'm great at this, but it's the thing that I'm the best at, or I've found that I'm the best at, and that I love it. And not only that, my goal has always been to get to a platform where I can use my name to advance causes that I believe in and give back to our community, our veteran community, but also our hero community, the law enforcement first responder community. And it's been that way this year. But to answer your question, I think that when I was sitting in Iraq and writing songs and found out that I was doing, karaoke competitions in flight school before I went to Germany, and before that, and I was winning, and I realized it was something I really loved to do. I didn't realize I was good at it until later on, or at least good enough to win the competitions. When I was sitting in Iraq and then that happened, I just realized that I was living a life where my dreams were just, if I was going to have a dream to do something, that I was just letting it pass me by. I mean, I was just sitting back and doing what I felt was a great thing to do, which was flying, and I just didn't have any passions. I didn't have anything that there was an outlet for any kind of creativity if I had it. And then I started realizing that when I was in Baghdad. So when Aaron died, I just decided at that point that I was going to go after it. And that I was going to chase it down, and absolutely every single day. So something that a lot of folks don't know, and if some folks out there will know, but a lot of folks don't realize it. My band, whenever we get together before a show, we always say a prayer, and then I always tell them, play the show like it's the last show you're ever going to play. If you leave anything on stage, you've done yourself a disservice. And when I say that, I say that, sorry, dude. Sorry, man. Sorry, dude. I always get emotional talking about this because this year has been incredible.
Well, no, it's all good. This is interesting, Ryan, because, you started, you said going for it. And I've been looking at your career and looking at some of the people that you have been mentored by, and now you're a mentor yourself. But you have played at some phenomenal venues with some phenomenal musicians. So, the value of what you bring to this planet, and to, obviously country music is your style, but, you're a rocker, man, plain and through, and you're an American rocker. I mean, I think they created rock and roll here, if I'm not mistaken, and you are just part of a tradition, man, that is just killer to watch. And you... And being the fact that you flew in dangerous combat missions, I mean, I love heavy metal, but a lot of those guys I don't think have even been in a situation like that, So, man, what a year you've had.
Well, I appreciate the deflection.
No, man, but I'm serious. You were with Huckabee. You have done some crazy cool stuff this year, man. Crazy cool stuff.
Well, in the last 13 years, I've played venues small and large. I mean, everybody's heard about the Bluebird Cafe. It's probably one of the most intimate places I've played. I played in front of 2 people at the Double Branch Bar in Troy, Alabama. And then, we played in 2014. I got to open up for Charlie Daniels at the Ryman Auditorium here in Nashville. And then we did the Volunteer Jam in 2014, and that was at Bridgestone Arena between Ted Nugent and Michael W. Smith, and then Grand Ole Opry on September 11th of 2015. And this year has been amazing in and of itself, in that that we started off, I say this year, but 2017 at the end of the year, I replaced Steven Tyler at the World Finals in Las Vegas in T-Mobile Arena. To a sold-out PBR crowd for their World Finals. It was insane.
Come on, man! You're like the patriotic voice of the professional bull riders.
They,
you can't get much more American than that. Man.
Well, they brought some guy in that nobody knew, on their main night, and Sean Gleason, the CEO of the PBR, took a chance on me, and it's been an incredible year impacting civilians and also military and our heroes, the law enforcement first responder community, impacting them each time we do a Celebrate America night. And I mean, to start off the year, the last day that I saw Aaron alive was January 4th in 2004. But to start off this year, performing at Madison Square Garden, I think it was on January 4th or January 6th or something like that. I can't remember the date because we've had so many. But we started off at Madison Square Garden, and to be an independent artist with no song on the radio, without a major record deal. I did sign a record deal with the PBR for a single EP, the Celebrate America EP that's out there right now. If you guys want to download it, all your listeners. But
tell us about
that.
Celebrate America.
Well, I mean, essentially the Celebrate America EP is just a 4-song EP. Win Barble, who wrote Have You Forgotten, just got back from the war, Waiting on a Woman. Just an amazing person. He's such an awesome guy. Is down to earth country as you get. He produced the album, and I co-wrote a song on there called Get Up. It was actually called Get Up or Get Out when we first put it on the EP, and when we were going to put it on the EP, and we changed the title so that more people would listen to it ahead of time. I wrote 3 of the 4 songs on there, and Win Barble and another co-writer wrote one of the other songs called Beware the Owner. But it's a patriotic EP. I'll tell you, my normal show outside of outside of PBR is not patriotic focused. It has themes of patriotic blood running through it. Obviously, there are those parts of it, but it's a rock show, man. I mean, it's a slam and rock show. But we've gotten to perform. I performed in front of 46,000 at AT&T Stadium where the Cowboys play down in Arlington. That was amazing. Everything from Golden One Center in Sacramento to the Sprint Center in Kansas City you name it, every large arena that they've gone to, I've had the opportunity to perform at. And we came here to Nashville just recently, and I was on the Huckabee show a couple months ago, and I invited him while I was on the show to come and perform with me in Nashville with the PBR, and we got to do a really cool performance with him of That's What America Means to Me. It's on my Facebook page if anybody wants to see the link. They actually did a real cool 5-minute segment about what the PBR is doing on the Celebrate America campaign, and Huckabee had it on a show again. Went out to over 100 million households worldwide, which was pretty incredible. And just to get to meet that guy and hang out with him. And his daughter came to the show. I didn't get to meet her because it was a little bit tight as far as security was concerned. But it was just awesome to get to meet him and talk with him. He's such a genuine person, such a kind-hearted person, and an incredibly talented bassist. So we brought him up we brought him up on stage in the middle of the show, and it was pretty awesome. And then shortly thereafter, I got to play the Duke Army halftime show at Duke University. We played the halftime show there. It was the first time Duke University had ever brought in a band for their football program to perform at halftime. And that was, to be able to say that, I don't know if you know this or not, a little fact, but Duke University is the only other place to host the Rose Bowl than the Rose Bowl. And
I didn't know
happened
that.
when
when
there was a threat of Japan actually bombing California. So they moved the bowl over to Duke. So it was really cool to be part of some, immense NCAA history. And if any of your listeners are out there and want us to come and freaking rock out, sponsored by your company to rock out at an NCAA football game, we can come out and kill it for you.
Well, the highlights of your career continue to grow. I mean, and that doesn't happen by happenstance. That's solid hard work. It's having incredible talent, obviously passion and purpose. What kind of legacy, Ryan, do you want to leave behind? How do you want to affect people through your music?
I guess there's still so much that I want to do as far as the music business is concerned, but not just the music business, but my brand. The Ryan Weaver, I hate to talk about it like I'm in a third person or second person, whatever, but the Ryan Weaver brand. I've been, I worked with Grunt Style for 2 years and created a brand of shirts with them. And we just moved over from Grunt Style to Nine Line. I'm extremely excited to be working with Nine Line. This company is just, I felt like when I walked into their, and this is kind of going to be a long answer as far as my legacy is concerned, because there's a lot really to it, but I walked into this company and met with Tyler and their whole staff.
It's outside of Savannah, right? It's up near Savannah.
It's right outside of Savannah. Yeah. You got, if anybody's out there, you got to go check it out. They got a Black Rifle coffee shop downstairs with their, I say downstairs because their offices are upstairs, but, with their merchandise store and our merchandise will soon be in there. They got Tiggs and Oz is in there right now. It's a great, just the whole company, every single person at that company treated me like I was a rock star, but they also treated me like a genuine friend and like I was becoming part of a family. And it's something I think in the military community, because there's so much of a competition between veteran business owners, that for the first time in a long time, and there are a lot of companies that I've worked with, but for the first time in a long time, I truly felt like this company cared about my brand and about what we've been trying to do and the message we've been trying to send, and what I've been doing on the music side of things. Yeah. And I think that this opportunity to work with them is going to be amazing as far as expanding my brand, but also being able to give back to the veteran community. Nine Line organization is immensely supportive of the veteran community, and they do amazing things. So as far as my legacy is concerned, I want people, especially our veterans out there, but our heroes as well. But I want folks to see what the American dream is about by what I accomplished in my life. I've come from humble beginnings to serving my country, to getting out, spending almost 21 years in, getting my education through the benefits of the Montgomery GI Bill, pursuing a dream with reckless abandon and sacrifice and hard work and dedication to something that I love and believe in. And I could say that my boots were in the sand in Iraq in 2003 and on the center circle of the Grand Ole Opry in 2015 and in Madison Square Garden and AT&T Stadium in 2017. And Lord knows where else my boots are going to be, although I do have a new boot line coming out, my own cowboy boot line. So I'm excited about that. So it's going to be a different
Is it the Ryan Weaver boot line? It
is actually going to be Ryan Weaver by Lane. They're going to make a formal announcement here shortly, but it'll be Lane Boots is a company out of Arlington, but we will have our own. I'll have my own cowboy boot line coming out. It's either going to be for the Christmas shopping or for the spring time. But to be a veteran, I have a Weaver Country LLC. To be a veteran-owned small business owner, I look at myself and everything else that I'm doing with the music business and branding and all those different things as a small business owner. Essentially, I want to turn it into something that's massive. And if the music world starts forgetting who I am, I want the rest of. I want my brand to continue.
You're definitely an inspiration to so many. And you know what? Again, it keeps coming back to, and I know you and I have had conversations before, but it comes back to hard work and belief and having these opportunities and actually utilizing skill sets to move forward. You're not done yet, man. I'm looking at all the stuff that you have done since you got out of the service, and I'm like, holy cow. No wonder all these great things are happening to you. I mean, you mentioned, Nine Line. I have been to that. It's right off the interstate there by Savannah. And you are right, man. They have got some incredible merchandise in there. Really nice.
Yeah, and I would say the merchandise and the product that they have is incredible. But the people at that organization, or the people at that company, you just can't replace the kind of relationships that they like to foster and the way that they treat people, and how they value their partnerships and how they value, their customers. It's just I'm telling you, it was incredible to get down there and spend some time with them for a day. We did a full product line shoot. My shirts are scheduled. My 2 first designs are actually scheduled to come out next week. So everybody watch for those. We'll be posting about it, obviously, because I'm super active on social media, but we'll be posting about those. But my first 2 designs will be coming out next week with them. And I'm interested to get it rolling, man. I mean, we were talking about the potential of this partnership with for hours, and everybody's excited about what we can do and the message that we can get out there and how we can get back. So I think, once we get this rolling, everybody's going to see some serious momentum kick up with all the different things that I'll be able to get involved with that company.
Yeah, that's awesome work, Ryan. But, let me ask you this. What does freedom mean to you, and what does it allow you to do?
I guess one of the things that obviously we're in the middle of all this controversy and whatnot with the freedom of speech and then, that kind of stuff. And, I posted a video with 9 Line about us standing for the national anthem. And a lot of folks out there and libertarians believe that, your First Amendment rights are your First Amendment rights are your First Amendment rights. And I believe that 100%. It doesn't mean that I necessarily need to agree with the method or the timing of a protest. It doesn't mean that I don't think that they should do or be able to have the freedom to do it. Just do it in a different way and send a good message. But as far as I'm concerned, their ability to do that, or anybody's ability to exercise their rights and not have to worry about being killed for it or be unsafe for it, the pursuit of happiness and what you want to do as an American, that's what freedom is, as far as I'm concerned. I'm the example of that. And I hate to say that because it sounds so freaking egotistical, but it's not really. It's just, you asked about my legacy, and I want people to be able to see that no matter what you're up against and no matter what, life is thrown at you or where you are, that you have the freedom to chase it. You have the freedom to go after your dreams if you just work hard enough and never give up.
That's a great piece of wisdom you just gave there, because it is true. Never give up. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Whew. Yeah, I know you're supposed to have a plan. My mom, it's crazy you said 5 years in particular. My mom always said, if you ever want a gauge of your life and what you've accomplished, look back 5 years and see where you are now. And holy cow, man. I mean, if you think about it, I just retired from the military and just moved up to Nashville in 2012. And in February 2012, and I was working part-time as a barback, part-time as a personal trainer, and going to college full-time on a retiree's income, and trying to pay my bills and living with 2 roommates and in a 3-bedroom townhouse and eating ramen and Cheerios and
yeah.
I mean, you would think I was an E1 in the barracks again. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear you.
And not busting on the E1s out there.
No,
you guys are
we
great,
know you're
but
not.
I know
we
you.
know you're not.
But I mean, I went from E1 to W3, so I've gotten to experience that lifestyle. But 5 years from now, I see my brand, my boot brand, being all over the world. We have the boot company, Lane, already sells internationally, but I see my boot brand being all over the world. I see my T-shirt brand being with this amazing company support, with 9 Line support. I see my T-shirt brand or my merchandise brand being substantially larger than it already had become prior to that. And as far as the music is concerned, man, I couldn't tell you what this year was going to look like last year. So I really, I mean, I would love to be at the top of my game, selling out arenas, doing the music thing, but you just never know. I mean, I'm gonna keep going after it until I get to the point to where if I ever step on that stage and I don't love it, then it's time for me to call it quits. And I say call it quits, it's not giving up. It's time for me to continue other passions that I have, because I can say one of the great things about being on this journey that I've been on and meeting the people that I've met and being able to experience, the Madison Square Gardens of things and the AT&T stadiums, but then the Bluebird cafes of things. There are so many other passions that I've found that I have along with music and being able to perform it. There are so many great things that I get to do. I mean, I met my wife up here. We wanted to travel for a long time, and she works her tail off. She's a corporate meeting planner, and she travels a lot and I travel a lot, but we want to travel together and experience, the world outside of our little microcosm here in Nashville. So that I could see myself doing a whole lot of traveling. And it wouldn't hurt my feelings to be retired in 5 years, again.
I hear you.
So, to have my second retirement come in, but I'd love for her to be able to retire as well and be able to move on and do what we love doing.
That's awesome, man. Let me ask you a couple of things here. What do you want non-veterans or non-military civilians to know about veterans, and especially combat veterans in general? And then how can people, you're doing all this crazy, amazing stuff. How can people find out about you, Ryan, and what you've got scheduled coming up and how they can get involved and support some of the things that you're doing? So a couple questions, how they can get your information, but also that message you want to give to non-veterans, non-military civilians.
Well, I'll go ahead and give out the technical stuff first, and then talk about the veteran thing, if that's okay, if you don't mind me flipping
that's
the
cool,
questions.
man. It's your show.
And the answers to it. Yeah, WeaverCountry.com is my website. We're in the process of getting everything updated on that. As everybody knows, as an independent artist, you have a whole bunch of balls that are up in the air. So, I'm juggling a lot of things, and I personally take care of my social media, the website updates and the different things like that. I have a company that's working for me to help me out with those updates, but, we're getting new stuff on there, obviously new promotional photographs and different things for the company, but, WeaverCountry.com. But if you want to this is one thing a lot of folks don't know, and I think you and I talked about this, we might have in one of our last conversations, but my Facebook page is Ryan Weaver Country. It's all three words together, Ryan Weaver Country. And if you like an artist's Facebook page and you don't go to the following button and click on it and change it to See First, which is SEE first.
Okay.
If you don't change it to See First, Facebook limits the algorithm as to who sees it. I mean, I have 42,000 plus people on my Facebook page, and I'll post something and 400 people see it because it limits it. So if you put See First, it'll put you in the top and put me in your news feed every time I post something.
Shoot,
and
thank you
Instagram
for that. Thank you for that, because now I just figured it out. That'll be good.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and anybody that's out there that's trying to make it happen is wondering why nobody's ever seen their Facebook post if they have a public figure page. That's one of the things you have to kind of let everybody know. But if you haven't already, because a lot of folks already know that, and I found out late in the game. But and then my Instagram, I believe, is Weaver Country, and you can find all that. We're posting so much stuff on my Facebook page, to include my other social media links, but all of my social media links to all of my different the Twitter accounts, and my Twitter account and all that stuff is on WeaverCountry.com. That's where they can find all the information they need. And if anybody needs, is looking for booking or whatever it may be, there's also email contacts on there, or you can just reach out to us on Facebook, and we will respond for booking and whatnot. And sponsorships or endorsements. We're currently actively looking for sponsorships and endorsements with companies that want to get involved with what we're doing. So, those are obviously other things out there for veteran-owned businesses that want to get involved with somebody who doesn't shut up and is on social media every day and has a larger platform to be able to spread the message about a product that they're trying to, throw out there. But, so as far as the veterans are concerned, what I want civilians or anybody to know, I think that one of the things that with my Never Forgotten tribute video that the PBR and I did, if you haven't seen it, check it out. Just YouTube Brian Weaver Never Forgotten. We honored 2 9/11 families, NYPD and a New York Fire Department family, the Dallas police officer families that were killed in that attack, and my family, to try and get all different, a wide range of services and, heroes honored with that. I think that the thing that I want everybody to see when I'm out there performing and when we honor our fallen, that there's a very human part of the inhuman / robotic outside of the outside perspective looking into the military lifestyle that people really misconstrue or don't quite understand. You're taking normal people with normal lives. Even when they put on the uniform, they're still normal people, and placing them in extremely abnormal situations for extended periods of time, and then asking them to come back to a normal life, or what would be considered a normal life, and be normal all over again. And does it make our heroes weird? Does it make our heroes hateful? Does it make all the negative things that you can say about it? Absolutely not. That's not what I'm saying. I just think that everybody has, or a lot of, I don't want to say everybody because not everybody has. I think a lot of folks have become numb to the reality that they're human beings or that they're very real human beings, genuine human beings in the uniform. And I think that one of the, and I'm going to go off on a little bit of a tangent. I think that also one of the biggest problems that we're facing in our veteran community with the veteran suicide is that we as veterans look at ourselves in that regard. It's almost as if we're looking at the civilian community in a mirror and saying that we have to be these robots and we have to be this inhuman person when we're dealing with some very real and tough mental situations or physical situations that most people don't understand. And it's okay to be human. It's okay to be real. I just, the only reason why, I said I was sorry for crying is because I can't talk when I start crying and I'm on a radio interview, but I've cried in front of thousands upon thousands of people and I don't care because it's real. And,
it is real. It's a release. People think that, it's not a sign of weakness. Obviously, you're quite comfortable with who you are, and it's a great strength. You're pointing out, Ryan, man, you're pointing out so many great bits and pieces of wisdom that have come to you by the way you've lived your life and what's happened to you. And, man, if you can't be real, then why would anybody want to go to that show? And I can this is the first time we really sat down and talked for 45 minutes. But I can tell that a Ryan Weaver show is a show that I need to get to because I know it's a real show. If you're crying on stage, that's a guy who I want to see perform because it's real. Does that make any sense?
Well, the one, I've said this from the beginning. One of the things that I want people to see whenever they come to my show is that I'm just a dude up there having a great time that was afforded an opportunity and has a little bit of talent and gets to do this. And I'm having as much fun, hopefully, as they're having out in the audience, doing what I get to do. And I want them to see that it could be them just the same up there doing this. I mean, that's what I want them to see, that I'm just a normal guy up there that's getting to do what I love and getting to chase a dream that I've worked my tail off to get where I'm at. Nothing was handed to me on a silver platter by any stretch, and I want them to see that. So yeah, I mean, you come to the show and you get to rock out, as we say, rock out on the countryside, but there are also some very genuine, heartfelt moments in the show where I made a promise from the very beginning that I would never step on stage without telling Aaron's story initially, and then Randy's story to go with it, and would never let people forget their sacrifice, because I believe that their sacrifice is a representation of the sacrifice that every one of our military service members and our heroes have had to make by placing themselves in harm's way so that we can be free to chase these dreams. I mean, when you come to the show, I hope that that's what you see. And then, you feel like you could come up and shake my hand and say hello, and you're just talking to another person. I know that there's that whole, whatever, this sounds so corny, but people say, oh man, you're a superstar and blah, 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 and you're famous. And I'm not. I mean, a lot of folks know who I am, but I'm not.
Well, you know what? I'm about to put a pair of your boots on my Christmas list, so you're famous. Trust me. Forget the Tony Llamas, man. No more Tony Llamas in my house. It's going to be, Ryan Weaver boots. That's it, brother.
Well, they're pretty flashy. So I mean, we got some America going on with these things. So whenever you see them come out, I don't know how flashy you like to wear stuff, but I will tell you, we have a men's and women's version of those, and the women's version is they're both, the design is exactly the same, but the boot cut is obviously different, but they're 1,000% patriotic. That's for sure.
Definitely can't wait to see them. First of all, appreciate you being here with us on Straight Outta Combat Radio, Ryan. Your hard work is without question, and it shines through in all the great things that you've done since you left the service and continue to do, and we know you will. But, your dedication to America, commitment to excellence is without question. Helicopter pilots just don't grow on trees, especially, combat pilots. And your service to the country and to your craft.
Apache pilots do, though, because Apache pilots grow on trees. They're usually at the bottom of the class anyway.
There you go. But even your dedication to your craft, I saw a picture of you recently with one of those electric guitars, red, white, and blue model that you had. Looked like you may have taken that picture in Florida. But that, you're so into your craft. And, I have, in fact, we use your song for our radio show. What does that tell you? And you know what? I got to let listeners know, you didn't even hesitate. You didn't know who the hell we were a year ago. And I said, hey, Ryan, can we use your song? And you said, absolutely. So that in and of itself, regardless of what you say, Mr. Modesty, is that spoke volumes to us. And so your song Burn, which means a lot to us because it helped us launch this podcast show, is with, thank you very much. I wish, we reciprocate. We just want to be able to do whatever we can to help you with, to get the message out about Ryan Weaver.
Well, I appreciate that too. And I mean, you get the guests that you bring on your show are top notch and all have great things to say. And, I appreciate you bringing me on to let folks know out there who've been listening to your podcast a little bit more about me if they haven't found out about me before. And, the song Burn that I co-wrote here in my living room and got Chris Pronto and John Tigan actively involved, in the music video for it. And they came out for the music video for it. And if folks haven't heard it, that was a labor of love for a year, almost a year and a half. And had it not been for John Tigan and Chris Pronto getting involved in it, it wouldn't have happened. So, I know how much people value those two guys and their opinions and what kind of American heroes they are. And I've become very, very good friends, super close friends with John Tigan. He's like a brother to me. And Chris and I became friends as well. But, you guys give back to the community just the same always. And you and I have had a couple conversations about our veteran community and what we can do to give back and how we can make it a better community. And it's great that you have companies and people out there just like you guys as well doing what you're doing. So
well, thanks you for that. God bless you, Ryan, and God bless your brother and your brother-in-law. We will never forget them. And we're gonna be watching you. We're gonna continue to support you wherever you go. And I'm looking forward to my first Ryan Weaver show. And when I get off this show, I'm telling you, man, I'm not joking. I'm gonna tell my wife we got to get some of those boots. So just Appreciate you being on the show.
I'll text you a picture of them, and you can tell me if you still want a pair.
Hey man,
hopefully you will.
Me,
they're freaking awesome. I love them.
If they're red, white, and blue, and they got star cutouts, brother, I'm in. So it's all good. So thank you, Ryan, for being here, and look forward to our next conversation. And again, if there's anything we can do on our end, let us know. Continue to rock it out, brother. And I know you're going to get to that promised land. You're going to be selling out stadiums for a long time. So we're really excited to watch you do that. And I'm glad you made it back home safe.
I appreciate it, man. You guys be safe out there.
Before they burn it down.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Straight Outta Combat Radio, audio medicine from Green Zone Hero. If you liked what you heard, then tell others about us. Like us and download us. And please remember, freedom is not free, and combat veterans are vital assets. They're not broken.
Save us all before they burn it down.